We already know it's not good for us, and still we go back. Not because we're stupid, not because we don't understand consequences, but because it's familiar. Because it's there when everything else feels a little too loud, a little too uncertain, or a little too empty in a way we can't really explain. It becomes something we don't even fully think about anymore, just a reflex, a default, a quiet escape we reach for before we even realize we're reaching for it. I used to think that meant something was wrong with me, like I was just undisciplined or weak in a way other people weren't. Like everyone else had figured something out that I missed, and I would look at my own patterns and feel frustrated, not even because of the habit itself, but because I couldn't understand why I kept returning to something I already knew wasn't helping me. But the truth is a lot more uncomfortable than that. It's not really about intelligence or awareness. Most of us already know what we're doing in a moment. We just don't know how to stop in the moment. It's not just me, it's not just you, it's all of us. We attach ourselves to things that give us quick relief. Pornography when we feel alone, even if it's just a passing moment of emptiness that shows up late at night. Junk food when everything feels heavy and we don't want to think about anything anymore. Scrolling when silence gets too loud, when we sit down and suddenly feel everything we've been avoiding. Even things like overthinking people who don't text back, refreshing our phone for something that might not even come, or just chasing validation just to feel normal for a second. And none of it feels dramatic in the moment. That's the strange part. It doesn't feel like a big decision, it doesn't feel like a big deal. It just feels like something small we do to get through the next few minutes. And the worst part is, it works. For a moment, just enough to make us forget why we needed it in the first place. It numbs something. It fills a gap. It gives us a hit of something that feels like relief, even if we know it won't last. And in that moment, it's easy to convince ourselves it's not that deep. It's easy to say, I'll stop later, or just this once, or I've had a long day, I can indulge a little. Then it fades, and we're right back where we started. Sometimes even a little worse than before, not because anything externally changed, but because now there's that added layer of frustration. The quiet self-awareness that we did it again, that we saw it happening, but we still didn't interrupt it. That loop is what really wears us down over time. Not just the habit itself, but the relationship we build with it. The way we start to see ourselves inside of it. There's a version of me I don't talk about often. 5 years ago, I was 20 years old, tired in a way sleep didn't fix. Not physically tired necessarily, but mentally drained in a way that followed me everywhere. Saying, this is the last time, more times than I could count. And meaning it every single time, not as a lie, but as a genuine promise to myself in that moment that I kept breaking. Until the next time came around and nothing had really changed. I would reset, feel guilty, try again, break again, and repeat it so many times that the cycle itself started to feel like a part of who I was. And it's not that I didn't care. It's because I never learned how to sit in the discomfort without running from it. I didn't realize how much of my behavior wasn't about pleasure or even desire, but it was rooted in avoidance. Avoidance of boredom, avoidance of stress, avoidance of emotions I didn't even know how to process. Even avoidance of myself in a way that I didn't have the language for at the time. And I think that's the point where most of us get stuck. We think discipline is about force, about cutting everything off at once, going cold turkey, about becoming some completely different version of ourselves overnight, like there's a switch we're supposed to find and flip. We imagine that if we just had enough motivation or enough willpower, we'd never fall into it again. But if it was that simple, we would have already done it. Most of us don't lack information or awareness. We lack the conviction to interrupt ourselves and follow through. What I started realizing is that the cycle doesn't survive because the addiction is powerful. It survives because the silence underneath it is louder. That moment when everything slows down, when there's no distraction, no noise, no input, that's when it creeps in. Not loudly, not aggressively, but quietly. Like a suggestion, like something that almost feels natural to reach for. That's when we reach for something, anything just to not feel that gap, that silence. And so when we talk about addictions, it's so easy to focus on the behavior, the scrolling, the eating, the watching, the checking, the repeating. But the behavior is just the surface, it's the symptoms, it's what we can see, it's what we can label. Underneath it, there's usually something softer and harder to admit at the same time. Loneliness that we don't say out loud. Stress that we normalize because we somehow think everyone feels it. Emotions we were never really taught how to hold or handle, so instead we learn how to escape them quietly and quickly instead of sitting with them slowly. We don't fix that by just saying stop, because stopping isn't the real problem. The real problem is what shows up when we stop. The discomfort, the silence, the thoughts we didn't want to hear. So what we end up doing, without even realizing it, is replacing one escape with another. Not always the same one, but something that keeps us moving away from the same internal feeling. Until eventually we get tired enough or aware enough to start noticing the pattern itself instead of just the behavior. I wish I could say there was a dramatic turning point, a moment when everything clicked and I never went back again. A clean break, a clear before and after. But it wasn't like that. It was slower. And I dealt with a lot of frustrations at the time, more human than I expected it to be. It didn't feel like transformation. It just felt like repetition with slightly different outcomes. Like continuously failing, but noticing it a second earlier each time. It was me learning to pause for a few extra seconds before reaching for something I was addicted to. Not forcing myself to be perfect, not trying to erase every urge, but just noticing the pattern before it fully took over. Sometimes I still went through with it, sometimes I didn't, but even those small moments of awareness start to matter more than the outcomes itself, because they created distance, and that distance is something most of us underestimate completely. We don't talk enough about how small change actually is at the start. It's not a complete overhaul, it's interruption. One moment where you don't act on it, then a moment, a day later when you notice it again. Then another where you pause just long enough to feel the urge without immediately obeying it and feeding into that addiction. And slowly, almost quietly, the grip loosens. Not because the feeling disappears, but because we stop feeding it automatically. I still have moments where it shows up. Moments where old habits feel close again, especially when I'm stressed or tired or just not feeling like myself. But now I can confidently say there's a gap between the feeling and the action. And that gap changes everything. Because in that gap, even if it's only a few seconds, the cycle stops being automatic. It stops becoming something that we can't see, becomes visible. And what becomes visible can lead to a different choice and a different outcome entirely. And that's where choice actually lives. Not in the big motivational speeches and not in the perfect version of ourselves we imagine when we're trying to change, but in the quiet space where we either repeat the cycle without thinking or interrupt it just long enough to realize we had another option all along. If there's anything I want you to take from this, it's not that you need to become someone else overnight, no matter how frustrating you may feel. It's that you're closer to changing it than it feels in the middle of it. Because when you're in the middle of it, everything feels automatic. Everything feels bigger than it is. But if you zoom out even slightly, you start to see the pattern instead of just the moment. We don't need perfection. We just need awareness long enough to create space. And in that space, even just for a second, the cycle stops being inevitable. It stops being who we are. And it starts becoming something we can actually interrupt. And that's where it finally starts to change. Thanks for watching, Rardo, and I'll see you in the next video.